All right, fashionably late as usual. But see, I got to figure out, Adam, an opening line because like I dropped that really cool line just now, but nobody was in the room.
You're
So
saying
I
they
guess the
missed out on
people,
the. Are you saying
yeah, you know,
fashionably late is a really good line?
yeah, but like I did it casually, like I was offhand, I wasn't even looking at the camera. I'm writing as I said it, you know, like there was just a really good vibe about it. Nobody saw it.
I hear you. Well, we're loading up the room now, so
Yeah,
somebody's jumping
welcome in,
in.
everybody. Welcome in. We're fashionably late as usual. It's what we do because since we're smarter than everybody else, we can just walk in on our own time. Time is a meaningless man-made construct. Why should I appeal to it?
Are you borrowing my line? Because that's my thing.
What time is a man-made construct?
Well, especially like dates and like we just invented the calendar.
Well, yeah, of
Like
course.
whatever we want it to be, it can be.
The other day, I was looking at my marriage certificate, and what was that? What was it that I was looking at? Oh, I because sometimes I get our anniversary a little mixed up, and it's not even that I get it mixed up.
A
It's
little.
that well, because hear me out, and I think this is why, because I do the same thing with the date of my child's birth. When we went to the hospital when Diego was born, we went on the 28th, but he was not born until the afternoon of the 29th. And so when people ask me for his birth date, I'll initially say the 28th almost every time because that's the day we got there, right? But he didn't show up until the 29th. So that's why I get that mixed up. When it comes to my wedding anniversary, Isabel really wanted October 10th. And so I initially always say October 10th, but it's October 8th because they didn't have October 10th available. You know what I mean? So like I was looking at my marriage license today and I was like, oh, okay. And I made it. I don't even know why I phrased it this way, but I was like, oh, so that's when our anniversary is.
Usually doesn't go well.
Yeah. She's like, excuse me. I was like, well, no. And then I explained my whole thing. She's like, all right, that's fine. Makes sense.
Why was there a reason she wanted the 10th? Is it like a special date to her? Or is it just like that was why she wanted it?
No, I think it was the aesthetics of having like 10, 10, 20 as our.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. I guess that was the thing. Like the 10th was like extremely popular. Like that was kind of crazy. I don't know. Whatever. All right. So we have a lot to get to. I want to show you something first, though, as I take you into my lame life. I think remember Festivus? I got the complaint that all I talk about is like my family and stuff.
Sure.
I drew Lightning McQueen today.
Is that from Cars?
It's from Cars. This is like a quick 2-minute, like just look at a picture of Google. What do we think? I'm proud of it. I'm not a drawer.
Is that what you do now? You just draw random things from the shows that you watch with your kid?
I mean, no. Like this is like a 20-minute stretch of me just trying to get. This is me getting through the home stretch of parenting, Adam. This is like 15 minutes before Isabel gets home, and I'm like, God, she just needs to get in the door, and my day is done as a dad. Like, you know what I mean? Let's burn through this bad boy. Here, Diego, sit down while I draw Lightning McQueen.
The kid is still yours. You're still responsible for him after she gets home.
Well, I mean, to a certain extent, but like she takes the main parenting minutes. You know what I mean?
Okay. I don't know that's how it works. You're like hand off.
I started to draw Donald Duck.
You don't say what you're drawing. Like I was going to say, I think that's Donald Duck.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Good. Let me see if I got one more. Oh, here.
That's Mickey.
No, there we go. The proportion, like I'm really unhappy with the ear. Proportionally, you know what I mean? Like they should be much bigger. So I started small, but then, bam.
I mean, as somebody who can't draw literally at all, like I'm very impressed by your drawing.
Thanks.
But literally, I can't draw.
I have not drawn in many years.
Now I am a published artist.
Right, you've told me this. What was the story again?
We started a comic strip when. See, here's the problem with college newspapers. While many of them are really good, and there's a lot of future journalists working there, and that was the case, they're also run by college idiots like myself and some of my friends. And we decided it was a good idea if me and another guy that would just sit around and like make really, really, really dark comments all the time.
Yeah.
As you know, that's something that I do. Some other kids were like, why don't you guys start doing a comic with some of these really dark thoughts and observations? So we did. But the problem was neither one of us could draw. So somebody suggested we get like an artist to draw like what we were thinking.
Wouldn't the charm be in the fact that you couldn't draw?
Well, that's what we decided. And
Okay.
by the way, we were right because the really, really, really just dark humor that we were putting out there worked much, much better with like stick figures and just
Right.
awful drawing. And it was called Stick Happens. It ran in the then Rebel Yell, the now Scarlet and Gray Free Press. And some of that stuff, like, my God, man. It's like you look back, like, how was there not like rioting to get us like kicked out of school? Now, I will say, my co-author on this joined the Peace Corps.
Okay.
I think he was like, I have to atone for what we have done. Like,
Why are you
bad.
here? Like
Yeah,
the rebel yell.
And he just handed over like his stack of drawings. I've tried to find some old ones. Like they're every
Examples.
So the day after, this is before your time. We're gonna get into more deaths that John has no idea about. The day after Left Eye died, which was a
I know that one.
A massive story for us in college.
Yeah.
We did it was two guys, Dude and Slick were their names. I don't know why they're funny. But it was like, hey dude, you hear what happened to Left Eye? And he said, yeah, they found her hanging out the passenger side of her best friend's ride. Which was not bad.
Not bad.
It was
Some would argue inappropriate, but
oh, everything we did was inappropriate. Like there's no question about that. There was definitely some 9/11 material, and it was, by the way, 2001.
Yep.
Like this was not, there had no time had passed. There was just a lot of really, really like dark stuff. It was great because it was like with two idiot like stick figure guys. Like who's gonna get mad? It's great.
You have to find a clip or like a piece.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's got to be out there somewhere. Like this is kind of like early days of internet where not everything was archived all the time. And I have a feeling, like considering the Rebel Yell changed its name because Rebel Yell was too offensive, I'd imagine they'd probably scrub some of these off off the history books. But there are some good ones, man. We do have to go find some, I think, but not as good as your drawing. I will say that for sure.
What happened? Oh no, where did Adam go? This is still live. My internet went out. Oh, there he is.
Sorry, buddy. I think somebody was offended. They just
I know, dude. What happened? Like all of a sudden, it just went quiet. I was like, "What?" I got kicked out.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, like, I made a comment that I thought you'd react to, and then there was nothing, and I was like, "Oh no."
I just was like, "Oh boy, I better get out of this."
Either you're bored or mad at me, or like something has gone on. So yeah, we're good.
No, I was setting this up, and then I got booted. So
okay. Yes. So you have not watched the end of the Warriors game yet, right?
No, I have not watched the end of the Warriors game yet. I of course was watching other games and whatnot, so I have not seen this. I do know that the Spurs won. Correct.
So yeah, there's how much time left? Can you see that?
We got about 8.7 seconds left on the clock.
Okay.
If I full screen this, what happens? There we go.
Warriors. Okay, there you go. Warriors down 3. They're showing Steph because everybody knows the ball's going to Steph, right?
Is it really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
down 3. Is he good at shooting
down,
the ball?
Down 3. First, did you see the shot he hit earlier in the game? I mean, he took on like 3 defenders and hit like a fadeaway from the bench.
Bro, he's really quickly, like he's quietly been fucking awesome this year. Like I know people like don't you watch your Warriors, of course.
Of course.
But Steph has been freaking dope this year. If you go back and just watch like the 2-game series with Dallas, like that was such a good performance from both of them. He's so quietly.
Luka was so good too.
Nah, I'm tired of Luka. I think I'm officially entering like anti-Luka territory.
Wow. Okay.
He's a 31% 3-point shooter. Let's come.
All right. He's still young. He's getting there.
All right. So go ahead.
But so clearly in this situation, you're going to Steph. Now they're probably going to foul, but Pop doesn't do that. A lot of strategy going on here, John. So let's see how they try to get the ball to Steph Curry here.
All right. Let's see this.
8 seconds left. Keep that in mind.
What is that? Okay. All right. Okay. What? So Steph's obviously the backcourt here. Draymond's gonna come set a screen to get him free, but doesn't work.
It's a terrible screen.
It's like almost like a slip screen. Does he try to set it? Does he slip? Like he doesn't even set it. He just gets behind him. So he can't get it. There's no spacing whatsoever. Oh boy.
Well, like, you get the ball with 8 seconds. Like, try to work for a good shot there, bro. Right. Curry's like, all right, bro. I don't even know what to do anymore.
That's pretty bad.
Like, you do have one of the best 3-point shooters in the history of the NBA. No, the best 3-point shooter.
What was I looking at today? Oh, I saw the stupid stat with was it Tom Brady, and it's like Tom Brady's more likely to get to a Super Bowl than than Steph Curry is to hit a 3-point shot, because I guess he's made it like 74% or 40 whatever percent of the time. Right. But that irritates me. But I saw his 3-point shooting percentage his career, and I was like, I don't know why I was surprised, but I was like, it's nearly 43% for his career. With the volume of shots that he takes, he's like a career for that's so nuts.
It's insane. But so here's the thing, like every once in a while you see a mistake like this in basketball. I mean, what happened to the Aces last year?
Untrue.
With one of those, what, that he's an ass?
No, is ass. Okay. There's an important distinction. Is an ass or is ass? If he's ass, I disagree.
But here's the whole thing, and I mean, Draymond does a lot for the team. There's no question about it, and he's a really good defensive player. He's actually surprisingly good in transition, like for a guy his size. He's pretty good at it. He's a decent offensive player, but his whole thing is his basketball IQ, right? Like that's what we've always raved about with Draymond. This is not an example of that. You can't catch the ball there with 8.1 seconds or whatever it was.
Like your point too. Like he just like jacking it up. He's like, they're closing in on me.
Right. Like there's more than one. Like just because Steph didn't get the ball there, you could take 2 dribbles and get him the ball still. Like you could figure out a way to get it to him. You don't also need to just throw it.
If that's the shot you want to take, they're gonna let you set it up. Like you got
You can get that shot at any time.
Right. You could give yourself a moment to like set your feet and do all that stuff, as opposed to just chucking it the second you get it.
But also, like you actually had the good point about this, even watching it on the first time through, which I was so caught up in the shot that I kind of missed the first time. He didn't even really try to get Steph open.
No,
like this was his plan, I think.
Do you think about that? Like, look, we all like dick around at work. Like, do you think that's his version of it? You know what I mean? He's like, man, like it's February 8th. We got such a long time. I want to try a game winner tonight. And so like he just doesn't set a screen.
Sure, but we're also going to be fighting for a playoff spot. This is not like it's not like it's the 70-win season. This is a team that has to fight to get in.
Still get your time. He's like, we're fine. Rest of the Western Conference, the bottom of the Western Conference isn't that good. Dude, what are you doing, Cat? Get out of there.
Clearly.
What are you doing?
I don't know.
There we go. She's attacking gift wrap.
At least I hear you this time. I am frozen though.
Oh, you're frozen? Well, we hear you.
Good. That's fine. Hearing is all that matters.
By the way, this is my smarter than we do this now. Smarter than you. This is the Golden State Warriors. Draymond Green on the floor, a plus 6.4 net rating. Very good, very good. Let's see what it looks like off the floor. Filter that. By the way, this is cleaning the glass again. I will always recommend this. You should always. Very cheap, worth it. Once a month for all you hoop heads out there. Look at that. Negative 8.7 with Draymond Green off the floor. Draymond Green is not ass. Draymond Green is awesome. That's a massive difference. That's insane.
That's crazy.
Bam. Argument one.
Well, this wouldn't be a good example of that.
No. That's part of
one play.
Right.
That's a short sample size.
Yes, that's a very short sample size. Yes, one of many. Oh man. So not a short sample size. Fuck Tom Brady. He's got 7. Can I ask you, where are you on this? Because Steve's weird. Steve's trying to play some angle here where he's like, I was rooting for Brady, and no, you don't root for Brady. It's irritating to watch him win 7. So where are you at with this? Because I've been getting tired of talking to Cofield. Because I'm like, no, like stop. Like I want to talk to somebody who's like, yeah, fuck this, man. Like he's winning a 7th one. This is so lame. Like, I wish
Well,
it was me. And that's the other thing before you jump in really quickly. Before you call me a hater, yes, I am. I wish it was my team. I wish I was the one watching this happen for the people that I want to win. So, yes, I am a hater. This is 100% a hater rant, but I'm tired of it. I don't want it anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, obviously, you'd rather have, although I don't really have any loyalties at all. Covering a team will kind of do that for you. But yeah, I'm with that. Like, I'd like to see other people win it. Now, at the same time, like, as much as I like Mahomes kind of as a person, he's going to be there. So, like, I don't want him. He's going to at some point win 5 or 6 or whatever it is. So, like, I don't feel like just because he hasn't won them yet, we could like cheer for him because he's like the underdog story. I don't really want either one of them to win.
I can see that. I haven't really
obviously they had to.
I mean, I enjoy watching just like the pure version of Patrick Mahomes. Like, I view Patrick, when I watch Patrick Mahomes, I watch him as a football player as opposed to the narrative aspect of it, which is, Chiefs going to the Super Bowl for like, second time, you know what I mean, and all that stuff and legacy. Yeah. I just like watching Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback, like the way he throws the ball, the excitement of the way he plays, the excitement of the Chiefs offense.
John, we just talked about it. He's the Steph Curry of NFL.
Right. And that's why I enjoy him. I kind of, for some reason, and I don't know why, I can put aside the legacy and whether or not I like the Chiefs when I watch Mahomes because I enjoy the way he plays.
I can't tell. I mean, that's where I am right now, but I just know that at some point he will be Brady, and then we'll all hate him because he's winning a bunch of titles. Like, that's going to happen. Like, Brady by himself isn't hateable.
Yes, he is. He's kind of a D-bag, bro. Like, the whole thing with Tyrann Mathieu. Like, all that kind of garbage. Through text. Like, get the hell out of here.
Well, what's he going to do?
Hey, Honey Badger. Hey, Honey Badger. It's TB12. Just want to let you know, you got the heart of a competitor. I just got a little out of hand. Sorry, butter.
Do you think he called him HB?
Yeah. Or called him Honey Badge?
What do you think he called him? Because I don't think he dropped the N-bomb.
Well, that's extreme. I didn't even think that at all.
No, I don't know if you saw that. So Tyrann Mathieu tweeted out. Yeah, he tweeted out. He said, Brady said a word that I will not repeat. And that's what he called me. And like, that's how it started. And then he deleted that.
I thought he just called him a bitch.
You think so? Wouldn't Tyrann Mathieu say that though?
No, I mean, maybe not. We don't know that. Like, if maybe Tyrann Mathieu has matured and feels like that is not something he wants to say out loud on social media in his presence. Okay. What's it called?
It's one of those cases. Usually when you hear that, you kind of jump to, N-bomb. But I didn't in this case. Like, I didn't think that was it.
But I also think that's the genius behind that, right? Like, Tyrann Mathieu is probably just bitch, but it makes you think, what did he say? Like, Tyrann Mathieu won't even say it? What if we just called him a doo-doo head? He's like,
okay, I'll say this.
Right.
If Tom Brady called Tyrann Mathieu a doo-doo head, I will cheer for him to win the Super Bowl.
That's such a good. I was telling my wife the other day, like, I want to use this phrase now, like, as my kid gets older. What happened to butthead? Like, that's such a good insult. What happened?
It's not though. I've always hated it.
All right, butthead.
It's so nauseous.
You gotta say it with that gruff, like, all right, butthead.
Well, didn't like, I mean, on a serious as you could be about this, didn't like Beavis and Butthead ruin that?
I guess yeah.
Because now you think you're just referring to like a character.
Yeah, potentially. I don't think they're that big anymore, though.
No, but I think that's when the line kind of came of like, all right, that's not really the
right. But what I'm saying is like, that would register with people of like your age and potentially mine. Like, I think like anybody 30 and lower would probably be like if I were to tell you Butthead, your immediate thought wouldn't be Beavis and Butthead. You know what I'm saying? It was pretty big.
They brought it back for a commercial. They brought it back for a commercial yesterday, didn't they?
Dude, I didn't watch any commercials. Like, I watched the Shaggy one, and that was it. Like, I wasn't really paying attention at all.
I keep hearing about the Shaggy one. I didn't watch that one.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
No.
All right, I'm going to try to pull some. It's pretty good. Like, all right, I'm going to try to pull off some magic. Hold on, talk for a second.
If you can actually play something with that. I was actually going to leave the room, so I'm glad I didn't, because I was going to try to get unfrozen from this. As far as commercials go, I'll just repeat for those that maybe weren't listening on the show earlier. But one of my favorite things every year is when people just crush commercials. Like, that commercial sucked. How could you waste money putting that commercial on the air? Like that's you have one chance to make a big impression, and that's what you do. And I'm like, yeah, you're talking about it. Like literally, the only goal of an advertiser is not to make a great commercial, not to make a funny commercial, to make a commercial that people talk about.
Yeah,
And like
memorable too.
when you go nuts about a commercial and how much you hated it or how stupid it was, or the one we talked about mostly was the Oatly commercial. I don't know if you saw that. Like it's this, it's an oat
I
milk,
kind of saw it. Yeah.
like a milk replacement type thing, and they buy a commercial on the Super Bowl, and it's their CEO just like sitting there singing a stupid, like the worst jingle you've ever heard, just by himself. And people are like, "Why would you do that?" Because you didn't have any idea what Oatly was 2 minutes ago, and
Right.
now you do. Like
It's
that's why
brilliant.
you do it, of course. So like the people that get worked up and freak out every time about dumb commercials are themselves dumb.
All right, we're on the process here. This is cutting edge technology because
Okay.
I don't have a fancy setup like one Steve Cofield. So we got to work with smoke and mirrors here. Smoke and mirrors. But I think this is going to work. I
Okay.
think. You're going to be impressed by my ingenuity.
I'm already
Okay.
impressed by your ability to set this up.
Right. Like you're extremely excited right now. You have no
Yeah.
idea what's going to happen. All right, here we go. This is it. Mila Kunis. And what's his face? Ashton Kutcher.
Ashton Kutcher.
It may be. I had to think about him for a second, like when I first saw it again, because she's obviously. I think she's more famous than him, right?
Yeah, can you talk for 2 seconds now? Because I can't see this now because I'm still frozen on the basketball.
Oh no!
Hold on.
So it's a Cheetos Crunch Pop Mix. This was the best commercial for me, but it's also like really the only commercial that I saw. Let's see if Adam's back. You back?
I'm in. Yeah, I'm back.
All right. You see Munch It Out.
I do.
Mina. What is her name?
Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis. Man, I haven't seen them in a long time. By the way, peak 70s show. Fight me on it. They were great. All right, you ready for this?
Yes.
All right, 3. I'm gonna do this. 3, 2.
Did you steal my Cheetos again?
Oh no, I messed up.
Just tell him it wasn't you. But I caught you at the counter.
Wasn't me.
Saw you snacking on the sofa.
Wasn't me.
You even had him in the shower.
It wasn't me.
Oh yeah.
I even caught you on camera.
You're the one who granted access to your snacks. Don't act surprised that she sneak behind your back. You gotta keep tabs before she empty that bag. Let's review the situation. Orange fingers, red flag. To keep your own stash, you gotta hide it better. If she asks where they are, you say forget her. Never admit to a word, and please don't upset her. And if she keep on stacking, I guess you let her.
Well, did you?
Wasn't me.
Oh. Okay. Well, that's the first time that's ever worked. New Cheetos Crunch Pop Mix.
What'd you think?
All right. Should,
By the way, did that work? Did that actually somewhat
did.
work? Yeah,
it
cool.
did, yeah.
What'd you think?
I don't like.
Well, my first
it's a-
takeaway was Kutcher can't sing worth shit. Like that's
That's
crazy.
terrible. But I think that makes the commercial better.
Yes,
Um,
but I thought he
It's
was
a
like uber
big
talented
swing.
actor guy. I was really kind of surprised. You know what I mean?
he's some doofus from Iowa. Like I love Ashton Kutcher, but he's not like a stage kid.
Yeah, that's a good.
You know, he's
point.
not like a singer, dancer, songwriter, guy, whatever actor. To me, this is a big swing. Like it's a big swing that could have gone terribly, terribly wrong.
Mhm.
It didn't. Like it was okay. I don't think it's like amazing, but it worked out.
Well, I thought it was the
Wasn't
best
like
one
the-
because this is the only one I watched.
Okay, that's fair.
Right.
The end was weird, kind of.
Right.
Like it went kind of too long, I think.
Yeah, they should have brought Shaggy in much quicker.
Or it could have just been like the song, like he did the song, and then we all understand where they're going with this.
Mhm.
Like they're like you're denying it, even though you're caught. Like we get it. We don't need to have like the Shaggy interaction thing at the end.
No, I like that. Well, that's the first time that's worked. That's good because it also speaks to what we were all thinking, which is there's no way, Shaggy, that's working. If she saw you in the shower and on the counter and on the sofa,
Wasn't me.
right, like, it's not going to work.
Right. Like Yeah, that's a good. That's a fair
Way
point.
too long. You know what I mean? Like that's good. I liked it. Too long. I could get that though. I could totally get that. Like we don't need the 3 setup, right? We don't need the in the shower and the camera or whatever. You know what I mean? Just
No.
give Kutcher one of those lines. Go straight to Shaggy, and then get out. But I guess if you have to buy, you're buying 60 seconds, then you know what I mean?
To Shaggy.
Right.
That's good. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, you said that's the only commercial you watched. What did you watch it during the game, or you watched it later?
I saw it during the game, and I would say it's not really the only commercial I watched per se. It's the one that I remembered. Like for the most part, I was like on my phone on the app, and doing other stuff, betting, social media. So I wasn't really paying attention. So I saw commercials, but I didn't retain them to the point where like this one came on, and I just happened to be watching, and I took it in.
It's actually kind of amazing. Of like, I've always thought that I don't watch commercials and I don't pay attention to much that's going on during the game, except for the game, because of Super Bowl parties.
Mhm.
Like I've always kind of blamed the party of like, everybody kind of talks during the commercials. You don't get to see them, whatever. I mean, yesterday I was by myself. I didn't see anything. I mean, like you said, I was working, but I was also, you're going to social media. Then you're doing all this other stuff. I was actually covering the game, so I was like taking notes and everything that's going on. But I didn't see a whole lot. I know there was one where like they had a ton of bottles like falling out of things and all around the screen, and like you're supposed to count them.
What?
Yeah, like you count them, and then like the first person to tweet out the right number of bottles gets like $1 million or something.
I didn't even see that at all. Didn't even catch wind of it.
Well, I only knew that one because people were texting me like they said things like, "Why don't you just stop the broadcast and count them like slow motion?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's what they want you to do." Like, what do you think they're trying to get you to count it as like the show plays live?
Right.
Like, they want you to stop it. And I'm like, nobody's got time. I'm trying to watch the game. I'm not going to stop the screen and start counting.
Yeah, get that mentally reinforced there, man. Get that all up in that brain.
Yeah,
all up in those squiggly lines.
Yeah. So that was one. The Costanza sweatshirt one.
Oh, I didn't see that one either. No.
I mean, a kid was wearing like a Costanza sweatshirt like every day.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Alexander, I guess, is not actually Costanza, but it was a Jason Alexander shirt, and then at the end he like runs into him. I don't even know. Like, this is the thing. Sometimes when commercials are on, you don't remember what they are. I think it was like a detergent. Like that's what it was, like a detergent maker.
Yeah, see, I got to pay attention more. I was telling Steve on Friday that, and maybe it's my fault, I feel like Super Bowl commercials, I don't really care anymore. Like maybe it's because I do like, social media, whatever on commercials, and I don't watch as much anymore. The commercials have not done it for me, I would say, for the last like 3 years or so. Ooh, Adam's gone. Look at that. All right, well, this gives me perfect time because I'm setting up another clip here. This industry, or this broadcast, excuse me, has gone very well because apparently we got to go watch this chick. And did she fight Paige Van Zandt? Was it tied? Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. Ari, appreciate it.
This is wonderful. You're welcome.
Why you keep leaving?
Keep freezing. I don't know what that one. That one just kicked me out, so I don't know what that one was.
Oh boy, this is going.
I think. Are you there?
Yeah, I just removed you.
Also, I think I realized like the 3 times we put like things up, I've been kicked out.
Because I was setting up another one.
Might have something. Let's see if it happens again.
All right, let's see.
Figure it out. Yeah.
I'm gonna do the same thing here.
Okay.
All right, let's see.
We're learning as we go how to mess with the equipment without Steve here to guide us.
Well, this is kind of why I wanted Steve to do this because I'm just lazy.
Okay, this is good.
Okay, so you need audio for this, correct?
Yeah, this has been called by some the greatest post-fight interview in the history of combat sports.
Okay.
So here's the setup to this. This is Britton Hart. Her name is Britton Hart. She fought Paige Van Zandt in a bare knuckle fight on Friday night.
What was the result, by the way? Did she whoop her?
It was not a blowout. Like Britton Hart won a decision. I thought Paige was really tentative the first 4 rounds.
By the way, really quickly, can you explain to me? So, is bare knuckle, is that mixed martial arts or is that just stand up?
It's boxing.
Okay, all right.
It's bare knuckle boxing is what it is.
Okay.
So Paige could do a whole lot, and then one of the things that was happening to Paige is I think the experience really hurt her because this girl had fought. She's a pro boxer. She had 11 pro fights. She was like 4-4-3 or something. So not a great fighter, but she has had 3 bare knuckle fights before.
Mhm.
And I do think the experience kind of came into play. The biggest way I'll tell you is because Paige was doing a lot of clinching, which is a boxing technique. But in MMA you clinch and then go for a takedown or go for knees or something like
Right.
that. But Paige would clinch and then she wouldn't know what to do when she clinched.
Yeah.
And she was taking a beating in the clinch. Like she would clinch up, and then this girl would just start rocking her with body shots, and Paige was like, "What the fuck? Like,
Dude,
I feel like
where can I
what is
watch
going on?"
Because I like some of these bare knuckle fights. These are cool.
Yeah. So, and there were some really weird ones on, like some old school MMA fighters and stuff like that on there. But I had watched the press conference for this, and one of the things that stood out to me is that Britain Hart she's a very weird person. Like during the press conference, like I couldn't even understand some of the points she was trying to make. It's one of these people that tries to sound very, very like I don't even know what the right word is, but like
Deep?
very deep, very profound. Like everything she says, she's going for something very profound.
Okay.
But nothing is ever actually profound.
Right.
So if you watch like the pre-fight press conference, she answered like 10 questions. They were all every single time you'd be like, "What?" And I was trying to get quotes for a story I was writing, and I was like, I don't even know when to quote her. Like I don't know what she's talking about. Like this is very weird.
I'm gonna Google that word.
Esoteric.
Yeah.
It's about the same. So she beats Paige after the fight,
I like it.
and then she starts talking, and I've never seen Twitter light up with like an obscure event like it did with this post fight, because I'm sure nobody had ever heard her talk before. And when she starts talking, you're like, okay, it's only 11 seconds, but I'm confused by these 11 seconds of what just happened.
I'm not a person, though. I'm not. I'm a fucking feeling. And all of you guys are gonna feel it. I'm not a person, though. I'm not. I'm a fucking feeling. And all of you guys are gonna feel it.
Dude, there's no way. She rehearsed that, right?
No, dude, I'm telling you.
Get out of here.
She did. It's so great.
That's ridiculous.
The pre-fight was the same kind of things. And I think it might have been Brady. If Brady's here, you might bring it up. Like somebody pointed out to me. God, I'm paused again. It sucks. I'll stay in here though. Somebody brought it up to me that like her first answer at the pre-fight press conference, she's like, she stands up and she's like, I'm not going to sit down. Like I'm going to rise for this because you need to hear this. But then she sat for the rest of her answers. So the rest of your answers are not that important. Like, did you just have one time where you're like, I'm going to rise, and you had that one line, you had to get it out? Like, I don't know what she's talking about.
That's bad. She had that written down. Like she went in, she's like, if I win, I'm going to tell them I have a fucking feeling, dude.
But if you write it down, don't you come up with something better?
Oh, she thinks that was great. And she's like, I'll do the weird shaky voice thing when it comes to feeling,
Well, in the end, it was great. Because just like the Super Bowl commercials, and we can tie it into what we were just talking about, like even though she beat Paige Van Zandt, nobody would know a damn thing about who Britain Hart is.
She arrived at her destination, but it was a route she was not expecting. Like she wanted to sound really fucking cool, and people were gonna like play that shit and like play some really triumphant music underneath it, and there you go. Like that's fucking dope. Instead, we're laughing at her, and now she is very, very popular.
So, I mean, these T-shirts have to be already made, right?
Oh, they better be.
I'm not a person. I'm a fucking feeling.
I'm not a
person, though. I'm not. I'm a fucking feeling. And all of you guys are gonna feel it.
Oh man, that's like a definite. That's cringe. That really is. That's pretty bad.
It's so bad. But
Wow,
I mean, on the positive side, so yes, she blew up on YouTube. What's that? 450,000 views for a 10-second clip of her talking after a bare knuckle fight. Like people are gonna know her now, and next time she fights, they're gonna want to see her and see what idiotic things she says. But to her, like this was as big as it gets. She's a very mediocre boxer, as I pointed out, 4-4-3, and actually, Paige Van Zandt called her a mediocre boxer before the fight, which Britain Hart did not take kindly. But she's a mediocre boxer who just got a bare knuckle fighting win. That's going to be the biggest moment of her professional sports career because she beat somebody with a name like Paige Van Zandt. Like, that's awesome. But I think you're right that what she wanted was to make something of this speech. And even though this wasn't what she intended, like she thought everybody was going to come out of there and be like, "Wow, you're so smart."
I think giving her too much credit, Ray, is thinking that was organic, that she'd come up with that on the spot.
Oof.
No,
I don't know, man. Like I think she had to have had a thought.
Fucking feel me.
Well, what does that even mean? Like she's a feeling that she's going to make us feel.
Swim through your veins like a fish in the sea.
What does that mean? I don't know what any of this means.
Isn't that an Uncle Cracker song? That one they used to play on the radio like all the fucking time.
Yeah, it was swimming through your veins like a fish in the sea.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, there we go.
You're right. That's what she is. She's an Uncle Cracker song. She's a walking, talking Uncle Cracker song.
Yeah. It's not as profound as you really think it is.
Oh, poor girl. Like she had her chance.
So you're frozen again?
I am. Could you tell?
Well, because what's it called? I noticed that you referenced the video that's been down for like.
Oh, sorry.
I saw you lean in and like look at it.
Like,
I was like, oh yeah, he's still frozen.
Oh, because when I was looking at the views, yeah, you're like.
So is it any time or is it just the videos?
I think it was right at the end of the video, but maybe it's just randomly that it's happened during the videos. I don't know. This has never happened before, so I don't know why.
I was gonna pull.
I don't know why it's all of a sudden today.
I was gonna pull.
Video. Oh, do you want me to talk while you're doing that, and then while it starts to play, I can.
There we go. That's a good system.
Yeah, that's perfect. But I'm still so focused on Britain Hart and her awfulness. Also, for those interested, I don't know why you would be necessarily, but Chris Lieben fought on that bare knuckle card. That's a blast from the past in the UFC. Was a title challenger. He didn't actually fight for the title, but he was like a top contender, 10 years ago. Ultimate Fighter guy. Very crazy. Actually, I shouldn't say that because he actually did have mental problems. He left the sport for a while. Also had some heart issues. But he said it was his last fight, but he got a 1 minute knockout victory, which always tells me the guy's going to come back, even if they say it's their last fight. Like, you can't leave on a 1 second or a 1 minute knockout. You got to come back and try to follow that up. Got to chase that feeling.
I'm feeling.
I'm a feeling.
All right, here we go. I found it. Let's see.
What is it that you're going to play right now?
It's not going to be a video.
Oh,
it's just a tweet.
Oh, okay. Well, let me get it then. You read the tweet while I get there.
Pop out. Boom. Our boy. Mattress Mac, $3.46 million bucks plus 3.5.
Yeah.
Your boy.
Oh God. Poor. Your boy.
Well, I thought because really quickly I wanted to address because I know we got the question of why we were so hard on the guy. I don't think we're hard on him. My problem is not with Mattress Mac maintaining how rich he's going to be. It's a very good idea what he's doing. I think the issue is like
it's smart too.
Right, it's very smart. What's it called? But like stuff like this, like Mattress Mac did it, bet $3.46 million on the Bucks plus 3.5, cashed at Legend. Like it's not a legend,
no,
right?
So
like
again, just to go back over what he does is he basically created a system of ensuring his own promotions. So like if you go to a UNLV basketball game this weekend and you watch like the Saturn shootout or whatever they used to have there, it's sponsored. But like, okay, you make a layup, free throw, 3-pointer, half court shot in 30 seconds, you get $10,000. They insure that. So they have a $10,000 insurance policy in case they have to pay that off. And if they do, then they just pay it off the insurance and they move on. And that's why the rules are so strict on a lot of this stuff. So Mattress Mac, and I heard that he tried to get insurance and couldn't on some of this stuff. So maybe he invented his own way, but that's what he did. So essentially, he came up with a way to insure his own promotions. So, like for this promotion, what he did, and he owns a mattress store down in Houston. He's been doing this for a while, but this is just the latest one. He said for the 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl, anybody that bought furniture up to I think it was $3,000, if the Bucks win, you get your money back. So essentially, you get all of that furniture for free. So all these people are coming in buying like, hey, I have a 50% chance, 43, whatever, but I have a 50-50 chance of getting this furniture for free.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go buy a whole bunch of furniture. And so what Mattress Mac does is he goes and then bets on the Buccaneers, so that if he does have to give away all this money, he just gets the money back for free. And if he doesn't, if the Buccaneers lose, well, he just sold a couple $1 million in furniture, so he's making it back that way. And worst case scenario is that he gets all this publicity.
Yep.
So this tweet goes out about him. Every newspaper in the country, and I will, in full disclosure, we do it every time he makes a bet. We'll write about, hey, Mattress Mac, big bet, and people read it like crazy. So all these blogs, all these sites, everyone in the country is writing about it, and so maybe they do too. And so he's getting not only free press, not only free PR, because he does a bunch of TV spots and radio spots too about the bet. So he's getting all this free publicity and potentially winning a bet for $3 million and selling all this furniture. Like, he's getting the best of both worlds. And in this case, and it's most cases actually, he bets the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
Like, pay attention to that. So, like, in this case, he bet the Buccaneers and he got a plus 3.5. So if Kansas City wins by 1, 2, or 3, he gets all of that and cashes the bet and doesn't have to give the people the furniture back for free. Like, it's a brilliant plan. He's a very, very smart dude. And from what we heard, and we saw that tweet earlier, like, a good dude that also gives back to the community, which is awesome.
Sure.
But, like, for us to be, like,
covered.
hailing him as a gambler is not true.
A gambler. I mean, I think there's arguments being made about the phrasing of legend, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Like things like that. And like, you can go the route of, are you like, even his gambling practices are not really very smart, just like from a purely buying points and doing everything, the odds that he's laying, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, well, I have to be somewhat careful on this. What if, John, what if he actually wasn't buying the points?
Well, because he has a sponsorship with DraftKings. DraftKings released a statement. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, not even that. Like, what if, being careful, what if he called around to books all the time and was like, hey, I'm going to give you this business, we're going to promote it, but you have to give me a better line?
What do you mean, what if? He has done that. That's been documented.
Okay.
He tried to do it out.
I didn't know there was public.
He tried to do that out here in Vegas. What was
Right.
the last event that he did this on? Whatever it was. Yeah, he's called around. He's tried to get better numbers for sure.
So that's also what he's doing. So people are like, oh, he's buying a half point. He's not buying a half point. They're giving him a half point.
Well, but he did, because I think he laid like $1.20 something on this.
Okay, well, it might have gone differently this time, but for the most part, like, that's what he's doing, is trying to negotiate better lines.
The interesting part here is DraftKings releasing the statement for him when he made right.
I didn't even know they did that.
Yeah, like that, those kind of things. But regardless, like, that's when I was asked, like, what's the problem with him? It's not so much the problem with him. And you know what? I'll even say too, I have to pull up who asked us this, because Steve brought the tweet to our attention, because I think the part of the thing that was brought up was, I keep saying, well, he's a loser, it doesn't really matter. Well, it does. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, like, it's an insurance policy. It doesn't matter if he's a loser long term in terms of the record. Everything's there for a reason. But regardless, that's the problem. Just call it what it is. It's an insurance policy. He's not a legend who's betting $3.46 million.
Right. Our problem is with the coverage and the phrasing of what he's doing. Like, he's not out there like, oh man, I hope I win this one. He's doing it. So again, somebody else saying, great dude, awesome, that's great. We don't have a problem with him. What he's doing is fucking brilliant. Maybe he is a legend in terms of, like, changing the marketing and insurance game.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be a legend as a bettor.
It's definitely a different way to look at it, for sure. But no, and because I'll see if I can find it. Maybe we'll have it for next week just to revisit it really quickly. But I remember the last time he pulled this, and I know Mark, he did do the World Series. I actually want to say that this time, the time that I'm thinking about was last Super Bowl, because there was a thought, and we even talked about it on VSiN when I was with Humans. I remember talking to Humans about, there's a certain, like, who do you think you are, bro? Like, calling Vegas books and be like, you want this action? Like, we want this action. Like, I'm going to take that. What are you talking about? Get out of here.
Right, and, because books and other places have done it.
Right, exactly.
So he was like, I'll do Vegas now.
Well, of course, Vegas will come in and they'll give me minus 105. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, sorry, bro. You can go do this at DraftKings. That's fine. So.
I could be. You might not even have seen this. I don't know, but did anybody ever figure out the Gatorade thing?
No, I didn't even see. What was it?
Because I'm so happy it happened. Because how often do we talk about this? Like, people are like, "Why don't Vegas do these bets?" Yeah, he's not shopping the line no more. That's different. Like, he doesn't want to do the work of shopping the line.
Right. Yeah. There's a difference between calling books and saying, "Will you give me this number?" as opposed to going around screen watching and looking for the best number available, and then going and flying to that book to go bet that number. That's
because
logic.
that's what gamblers do.
Right.
Instead, he calls and he's like, "What is your line?"
Mattress Mac. Right.
Yeah. What's your line? It's +3 -10. What if you give me +3.5 -10? And they're like, "No." Well, I'm Mattress Mac. I'm going to bet $3 million on it. No.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to get a lot of publicity out of it. DraftKings. Yeah, sure. Let's go. We'll do that. That's
what happened with Gatorade.
So, and this is the debate all the time about why don't we have more props? Why don't we expand the menu? Why don't we do all these other things? They didn't show the Gatorade bath on the broadcast. And, the prop is, what color is it going to be?
Yeah. So that's why I saw a whole bunch of people tweeting the pictures. I saw people tweeting the videos, and I was like, why does it matter? So I guess that's why. Okay.
Because they didn't show it. And, now I'm looking at it. It looks blue to me.
Oh, boy. Time for another video? Let's look it up.
The video thing. I think it's blue. But, again, wow, blue apparently was 7-1. But, yeah, it looks blue to me. I think it is blue. But these things should not be on the betting menu ever.
Of course not.
It should not happen. And this is why. And we talked about the anthem prop too, and I know Steve gets annoyed with us on this. All three of us, I believe, separately recorded the national anthem prop, which is sick. That all three of us, without talking about it, without discussing it, all recorded the time. And we all had slightly different. It was close. I think you were like 216.1. I was 216.5. Steve was like 216.9.
I had 217. What's it called? Like 0.1.
Right. But okay, so either way, we were like a second, like 1.1 seconds apart.
Right.
All three of us. What if the number had fallen right in between them?
No. For sure.
Like,
who's grading
that? And that's why you can't, if there's no definitive answer to something, you can't take bets on. I mean, you can. They do it in other places, but you just run into so many problems. It's not worth it.
Yep. By the way, so when do you start? So do you start with the first musical note, or do you start with the first note from the singer?
Singer.
Right. Okay. And then when do you end? At the start of the final note or at the end of the final note?
No, the end of the final note.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what I did too. So I was wondering why mine was a little bit longer. So interesting.
No, but it wasn't. It was only it's only because maybe a little slower of a stop.
Yeah.
A little slow to hit it. But we were all within a second. Like, we were very, very close to each other. It's not like we were 4 seconds off. We were, 1.1 seconds separating, the 1 from 3.
All right, let's
but
see.
What if the number falls in between there?
I love the definitive for which this video was tweeted out. It was blue. Like, really?
I mean, you can kind of see blue there.
I mean, right there.
Yeah, the splash.
Right there. Can you see my arrow? Yeah.
Yeah, you can see blue.
It looks blue, I guess.
But
I mean,
again,
I don't know. But like, if I have money, the limits are low. But like, if I had money on this, if this is the way you're grading it, like,
now I do think there's some like AP photos that are closer up.
Oh, okay, let's see.
But I've seen like clear or yellow. Like, there's been some disputes.
My argument was, what's it called? And we've had it in years past. Like, what happens if you dump 2 Gatorades on them? What's the grade there?
Exactly.
Do you pay out both sides? And again, these limits are probably like $10.
No, they're not. The streaker got 50,000 on it.
Bullshit.
No, you saw that mess today too.
Well, so I saw. I think Steve said. So what was there a story that the streaker allegedly saw the prop that there would be
some random person on Instagram posted a picture from like breakfast this morning in Tampa, and it was him with the streaker, and he said just met the streaker. He told me he bet $50,000 on there would be a streaker at 7-1, and won $350,000, and that his his profit was like $349,000 because he had to pay $1,000 fine.
Yeah.
which is completely ridiculous. There's no offshore book taking $50,000 at 70-1 or 7-1 that there will be a streaker. Right. It's not going to happen.
Like the operators going to be like, "Well, this is such a hardy play."
Yeah, but your BR Sports there posted it on Twitter, and then Steve retweeted and said, "Like, what offshore book is taking $50,000 limits on that bet?" And then they immediately deleted the tweets.
It was such an embarrassment, dude. I mean, this could start a whole, and I don't think I'll be very upfront here. I don't think VSiN is perfect by any stretch. But like that just starts a whole conversation around the coverage of sports gambling and how you should handle it, and how some of these outlets, again, VSiN's not perfect, rush to get to the forefront of everything, and then you make mistakes like that, and that's ridiculous.
If you should know the house rules at a place you bet at, those sorts of things.
Well, and then it just right, like that kind of stuff for a gaming site to tweet that out and put some legitimacy behind it is a little ridiculous. To have no idea, like what was the who was when they were doing the whole testimony out in New York? Who was the guy who was like, "What's to stop me on my way to New York to bet $50,000 here, $50,000 there on my first pitch being a strike?" Like, shut the fuck up. What are we talking about?
By the way, I should stop this because I just saw something that we addressed earlier in the show.
Oh no! What?
All right, so Draymond Green spoke.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna find it. I'll play it. We don't need video. Let me find it. I'm gonna go refresh.
So I don't know I don't know that there's video of him speaking. I
think I saw.
Oh, do we? Okay.
I'm a fucking feeling.
that's Draymond after that shot.
You know what? Bet. All right. So I had a good humble brag the other day, Adam. I always feel awkward when I tell people that we're trying to have a new child, because I'm just telling you that I'm banging my wife. You know what I mean? That's all that means. So, but now from the next time that we attempt to have a child, I'm going to tell her that I'm a fucking feeling.
I'm not a human. I'm not. I'm a fucking feeling, and you're going to feel me.
Right. Or maybe that should be my sexy talk. I'm going to try that too. See how that works.
Yeah. Do you still have the Draymond clip?
The video? Yeah, for sure.
Because now that I know what he was thinking, or at least what he said he was thinking, we need to watch the play to match up with his thoughts.
Oh, do you have transcripts so you can be Draymond?
It's one quote, yeah.
Okay, all right. Let me pull this up again then.
All right. Can you talk while you pull it up?
Sure. What do you need me to talk about?
Of course, I'm frozen.
Oh, you're frozen. Okay, all right. So let's bring up Draymond one more time. The one of the greatest basketball clips I think I've ever seen. One of the most, I think, next level basketball moves of our time. I actually saw one. I can't. What is his name? I'll look up the basketball writer. His name's Nikias, though. He's a really good basketball analyst. But he had tweeted out like something along the lines of, "What the hell was Draymond doing?" And then somebody tweeted him in that tweet with a screenshot, and it was their own timeline, and it was him tweeting out what was Draymond doing, and another media member, I think, trying to call him like a savant with the basketball, like common people don't understand what Draymond was trying to do.
Well, and that's kind of what Draymond is getting at with his answer here. But I think we need to watch the play to see if he was right.
I don't think he was right. There's nothing right about this. All right, here we go. Let's do this. Oh boy, somebody just connected. There's a ghost person in the room. I'm kind of freaked out right now. There's a third body.
Is it my old?
It says just producer. That's kind of freaky.
Oh, that is weird.
All right. Here we go. You ready for this?
Not happening.
So how do you want to do this? You want to read the quote first, or we're going to watch? You tell me when to pause.
Pause it when he gets the ball.
Okay. All right. So here we go. Curry trying to get inbound. Terrible screen. All right. Nothing. Pause it. This is me.
All right.
I bet you're wondering how I got in this situation. All right,
Record scratch. Okay. So what he is saying, and I'm going to say what he's saying before I read you what the quote was. What he is saying here is that he thought once the ball goes to him, that they're going to foul.
Why would they do that?
Well, I don't know what he said. Well, because it's a 3-point game, 8 seconds.
Yeah, you ain't Steph Curry, bro.
Right, but he's saying he thinks they're going to foul him,
right?
To keep the ball away from Curry,
I guess,
and foul him. So what he's saying is because they're going to foul, he wants 3 free throws instead of 2.
Mhm.
So he just puts it up, hoping they reach out and foul him. Now, I would argue and say the guy's not close enough to you yet.
Right.
like he's not there yet.
I'm
So
saying
it doesn't
still
make
just
any
doesn't
sense.
make sense.
No, but now that he says that, I'm like, okay, that might have been going through your mind. Now he didn't execute it very well, obviously. But that's what he said.
He's
Now, the
also
exact quote.
he's also a 70% free throw shooter this year. So are you going to hit all 3?
Well, that's actually what some of the people said too. They're like, "Well, what does it even matter? You're not going to make them."
Right.
So it does make some sense in that regard. But what he said, his quote exactly, he said, "It was the smartest dumb play in history. Very smart play that ended up being very dumb as hell."
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Sure.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's pretty
So I don't
bad,
know.
bro. I mean, did anybody ask him about this screen? Like, what was that?
Yeah, how
Like,
can we
it's
set
not a
such a
screen.
lazy screen?
Right. Like, you clearly have space right here. Like, he's just going to go around. What are we doing? Or is it
I don't
Steph's fault that he doesn't go the other way and takes the screen the proper?
So you
was it?
think Steph should have run closer to the sideline,
Right.
closer to go get the ball?
He should have gone ball side, right? Should have gone this way
Yeah,
because then you can use the screen.
except for now if you do that, now you've got the defender on the ball throwing it in to step out and get you.
That's fine. I mean, you're going to get 2 guys on you either way, right? One guy's coming out here,
Right, but
so it's either going to be these 2 or
there's
these.
there's more open space on the other side of the court. So I think he's thinking Draymond takes out that guy. So
But then
if
Draymond
Draymond screens the guy, now you're isolated with Draymond's guy,
right?
and you have a lot of court over there. If you come ball side, now you've got Draymond takes out your guy, but now you've got Draymond's guy and the defender covering the ball, both on you.
Well, yeah, but you got 2 guys either way.
No, I think if Draymond takes, we're assuming Draymond takes out a guy. If you run where he's running right now,
you can see my mouse.
Huh?
You can see my mouse moving.
Your mouse, yeah. So I'm saying, okay,
Mouse.
if Draymond takes out the guy that's covering you, now you've just got that guy in the middle of the floor trying to cover both wings, and you could go right on him and just have him ISO.
Mm-hmm.
But if Draymond takes out this guy and you come ball side, now you've got Draymond's guy. Now you can't see where I'm pointing, but
I see the disconnect though. The assumption that Draymond takes out the guy both times. That's where I'm missing my.
Yeah. So that's the difference. So I mean, Curry clearly wants to go to the middle of the floor to ISO on that defender, who I can't really tell who that is right now. And the way the screen is set up, he should have gone ball side to go get the ball. But he wanted to go middle, and Draymond to set up somewhere different. So he needed to respond to where Draymond was setting the screen.
So good.
But yeah, that's ridiculous. But it makes more sense in the context of he thought the foul was coming.
Casuals don't understand what Draymond's trying to do here.
Next level. The smartest dumb play in history. Very smart play that ended up being dumb as hell. This quote.
I would say yes. That was kind of dumb as hell.
You're gonna accept that?
I'll take it. I will take it.
What's
your what else you got? I was gonna ask you something.
Oh, go ahead, ask me.
Well, I was gonna say you mentioned that you had a Twitter beef of your own today.
Oh, dude. And Steve was he was taking the side of some of the other people too, but
purposely taking the other side.
But I won't I will keep responding to people.
Right, man of the people, just like me. I'll respond to people.
Not really, but I mean, I'm like, if you're gonna take time to try to respond to me or go after me, I'll respond to you if it's within reason and have these arguments. And sometimes they go on for 50 tweets, which is ridiculous. It shouldn't happen. I shouldn't do that. But whatever. I'm sitting at the Rebel game. It's halftime. I'll start firing back tweets at you. I don't care. But it's an argument really about. It started with the Mahomes Brady stuff.
LB Cabby.
Well, he jumped in on it very late.
Okay.
The other guy that was part of this was all over it. But it started last night. Somebody posted that meme of Tom Brady holding baby Mahomes. Yeah.
Take your son to work there.
Right. So I responded
I mean, that's objectively funny Photoshop. That's pretty good.
Oh, it's fine. But I take that to mean, don't you take that to mean you're insinuating Brady dominated Mahomes in the game?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, and so Cabby Chronicles, when he jumped in, he's like, nobody's saying that Brady dominated Mahomes. I'm like, the meme is like that's where he's like, you're inventing this narrative that people are saying Brady dominated Mahomes. Like, what is the meme supposed to be saying then? If that's not what it's saying,
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it started, and it was people going after me like, look at the numbers, like look at the numbers. Brady did this, Mahomes did this. I'm like, okay, yeah, they were in similar situations. I'm sure Brady would have done just as well playing behind that Chiefs offensive line yesterday. Like, I'm sure that's the case.
Straw man. It's a good one. You've broken this. Telling somebody their argument is a straw man argument is the esoteric version of, right? That's the there we go. What's that lady's name?
Britton Hart.
That's the Britton Hart version of arguing with somebody. Taylor used to do that all the time. Taylor would use like nice straw man. He would say it all the time. Like, shut the fuck up, Taylor.
Yeah. But like, so basically it came down to like the guy was making the quotes about the comments about the 3 touchdowns to 0, 2 interceptions to 0. Like, well, okay, whatever. And I was like, so you're saying that Brady dominated Mahomes in the game? Is that what you're saying? And then come back and I was like, you can't really judge it like that. You have to judge what situation they were in, whether the pass was dropped. Like all those things matter to quarterback performance. It's not just stats. And then Cabby jumped in and he was like, well, then what does PFF say about the game? And I was like, I think it was I found the numbers exactly earlier. I don't remember them, but
Brady, I was just looking at them. It was like 66.2 to like 65.8.
So essentially, they had the same game.
Yeah,
right. They were the same in the game. So I don't think the quarterback difference was the difference in the game.
If you had eyes, you didn't think the quarterback difference was.
And so he came back with like, isn't 66.2 better than 65.8? I'm like, I guess so, yes, technically, but that's clearly not the difference in the game. Like, that's ridiculous. You're Chiefs by 37 is great. And so then he can, but this is stuff that drives me nuts, right? Where people can't understand like nuance and that sort of thing in an argument. Because then I was like, well, if we're gonna be stupid, like if we're gonna make a stupid argument, Mahomes had more touchdowns. Mahomes had more yards and completions. Like, that's just as stupid as the argument that you're making. And he comes back and he's like, more yards, in garbage time. And I'm like, oh, I just said it didn't make any difference. Like, what are you talking about?
I love that. I like
47% of drops. Oh, dropbacks. Okay. I thought he's saying he did drop 47% of the passes. Okay. No, of course he did that in that game. But he also was doing it himself in a lot of those cases.
Right.
He was running into a lot of those pressures.
He also looked like poop.
Right. The pressure was getting to Mahomes within 2.5 seconds. Pressure was getting to Allen much slower, but he was running into it a lot of times. Like that again, go look at the analysis, the breakdown on the tapes. It's pretty clear right there. And even Kyle Brandt, by the way, which I pointed out earlier, that really made me laugh today. Like Kyle Brandt, or not today, the other day when he said it, but Kyle Brandt, the biggest Josh Allen homer in all of media. They were asking him like, who is going to be Mahomes' rival like over the next 15 years? And nobody said Josh Allen on the panel. It was like 7 guys. Nobody said Josh Allen. And they went to Kyle Brandt. They're like, well, here's our Josh Allen answer. It's Kyle Brandt. And he just stops and he goes, did you watch him in the playoffs?
There you go.
Like, okay. He's already jumped ship. I couldn't believe that he had jumped ship that quickly. But yeah, he did, which is crazy. But yeah, he definitely was pressured, not to the same degree. And by the way, the Chiefs were doing it with blitzes, which is a completely different scenario. Like, do people not understand that part of it?
I would also disagree with. I would disagree with this wholeheartedly. If you watched him, he clearly wasn't awful. I would say he wasn't good, but he didn't have the chance to be good. His offensive line was awful.
And again,
he was getting the ball, he was having to scramble and dip out of the pocket and make things work. Like nothing to develop for them whatsoever.
The lowest blitz rate in Super Bowl history, the highest pressure rate in Super Bowl history. Like, do you understand? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to listeners. But do you understand that means that they were pressuring him every snap without blitzing? So, like, when you get pressured with a blitz, that's on the quarterback in a lot of cases. You've got to be able to pick up where the blitz is coming from and get the ball out to that. You have to throw at the blitz, basically, get the ball out to those spots. When you're being pressured without a blitz, you really that means every receiver is basically double teamed, and they're getting pressure on you without blitzing. Like that's impossible to deal with as a quarterback, which is a totally different situation than them blitzing you and getting pressure on you. 100% different. It's not even comparable. So that's the difference, which is in the game. Now, Mahomes was not good, but again, we just pointed out, like, they were basically the same player in that game. Their ratings were the same. And this throw was ridiculous.
This throw was
freaking receiver in the helmet.
He hit him it was a dead on. He's parallel to the fucking ground. This might be the greatest throw I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was better than any throw that Brady had.
Right.
By far. And so, like, you can't just say, like, look at the stats. That's the dumbest form of argument you can ever hear.
And the thing to see, and that's why I go back to one of the things that I was talking about yesterday, and I think we talked a little bit about today. Brady winning MVP was dumb. Tom Brady was not the MVP.
Of course not.
If we were giving it to anybody, if, again, with the whole pressure rate thing, I mean, I'm down for go look at the guy who had the most pressures and give it to him on defense, because that defense was freaking incredible.
It was Shaq Barrett.
Okay, give it to Shaq Barrett, right? But voters won't have that kind of nuance. It's just give it to Tom Brady. That's ridiculous. And if you're going to give it to somebody on offense, you give it to the dude who caught 2 of his 3 freaking touchdown passes.
Right.
And Rob Gronkowski, who was rumbling free in the secondary at almost every freaking turn. Like, he was wide open when he was getting the ball thrown to him. It was ridiculous how they couldn't handle Gronkowski. And the fact that we just go with Tom Brady, sure, that's fucking dumb.
Yeah, Gronk was also really vital in the running game yesterday,
right?
Which doesn't always happen, but it definitely happened yesterday. Like, he was really good there. So, and Brady, thank you, exactly. So, yeah, I think for all those reasons, like, I would have had no problem with Gronk. I definitely think it should have been one of the defensive players, even Devin White, who was really good against the run as always. Mm-hmm. He actually was better against the pass than he usually is. He also did have the interception, which, again, just like his other interception, wasn't necessarily a great play. He's just right place at the right time, but he's always in the right place at the right time, for the most part. So I wouldn't have had a problem with him, and he put up big numbers. That's not even just like a, hypothetical, like with Shaq Barrett pressure rate. That's like maybe a tough one for people to grasp. It was like some ridiculous number of his pressures actually got home. But yeah, Devin White, you can actually say, look at the tackles and the interception, like that's the guy. But the defense of the Patriots, the defense of the Buccaneers is what won the game. So the most valuable player has to come from the defense. That's what won them the game.
I'm gonna try to get this too. I want to watch.
We also got an argument, Comeback John, on Twitter that was like, well, if Brady would have thrown the ball in the second half, he could have had 5 touchdowns. Like, okay, now it's like we're assuming. So can't you come back and be like, well, if Mahomes had his offensive line, he would have thrown 7 touchdowns. Like, you can just make up whatever you want of like what might have happened or could have happened.
Can you see this?
Yeah.
Let's watch Patrick Mahomes be trash. All right, the second he drops back, gets pressure out of the pocket. Like, look at this. It's like the ball. Okay, he has the ball. It's in his hands. He takes 1, 2, 3. Look at that. He's immediately got to run away. But he's trash. Okay, let's see this. There's pressure again. Okay, extends this out. This is not the one we were showing the image of. This is so dumb. And he's still
almost got it. He almost got it.
Like the second he gets the ball, it's get out of here. Jason Pierre-Paul's coming. Holy crap.
And also, Jason Pierre-Paul looked like he got held there. But let's ignore that.
Whatever. But like, look at this. Like, this is insane.
Jesus Christ. I mean, that play alone.
And like, look, I had a rooting interest in the Chiefs because, among the other bets I had the money line. I just wanted that to be a touchdown catch. Like, that would have been so fucking cool. That would have been let him lose, but like let that be a touchdown catch. That would have been fucking.
It's great. Even closer to a catch than it looks like. It's not like he.
Oh yeah.
Not like he almost got it there. Like, it was almost a catch. It was like actually almost a catch. Like, I mean, he caught the ball right in the corner. Yeah, it's insane. And the one to Tyreek Hill, which was on the run to the left, and he couldn't even follow through because there's a guy there.
Yep.
That Tyreek Hill was. It's not fair to call it a drop. It was a really, really tough catch. But he should have had it. And then the one that you showed earlier with him falling down hit the receiver in the face mask. It was Williams, I think. It's the guy. Listen,
to deny his arm, to deny his talent when you watch him, which is why going back to like plays like that, you know what I mean? We were talking about earlier where I can seemingly separate, franchise and like ramifications of legacy while just enjoying watching him playing football. Like this stupid ass thing right here. Like this is so ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, and when you start comparing, like on this play, and listen, again, Brady is the consummate winner. He's been incredible in his career. Like, it's not a knock on Brady, but Brady on this play, and we've seen it how many times throughout his career, would have just gone to the ground.
Right.
He just would have gone right to the ground. That's what he does. And it's a smart play because you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to fumble. You just live to fight another day. Like, that's what makes Brady a great player, a great winner. He understands situations. He understands his limitations. He would just fall down in this scenario. But instead, Mahomes is like, let me try to make something happen. And, again, and if you want to make the point, I'm sure I'm not in the comments right now, but I'm sure Bruce on Loose is, well, Allen tries to do that and people criticize him. Yeah, guess what? Allen runs backward 30 yards and gets tackled. Like, Mahomes somehow finds a way to get the throw off.
Right.
It's crazy.
And also, we should note, and you and I talked about this a couple weeks ago, Josh Allen actually is very good. Like, one of the most annoying plays that I've witnessed in football, going to his right and then finding whoever, whether it's Diggs or any of the other guys that he has, and the stupid tiptoe catch on the sideline. Like, I don't know how many times he did it this year. It was fucking annoying, but it was extremely good. He's really good.
He's one of the best passers I've ever seen running to the right. One of the best I've ever seen. And listen, a lot of that, as you're making the case here, goes to receivers, because how many receivers would either give up on the play or not go to the right spot? Like, they know how to get to the sideline and to like lean out of bounds and like stretch like 4 yards out of bounds to make the catch and pull it back in somehow. So they help him out a lot with that. He's incredible going right, but Mahomes is incredible going all directions with, like, it's insane what he's able to do. And to take away from yesterday's game, Brady's just better than Mahomes. It's just so ignorant. It's just so dumb. They were the same player in that game yesterday. And by the way, if Mahomes is quarterbacking the Bucks and Brady's quarterbacking the Chiefs, it's probably 45-6.
That was not a good performance for that offensive line, though.
God.
By the way, can I also talk about, so there were two things that bugged me yesterday. One, kind of alluding to Tom Crusader here, saying Brady was going to retire until he heard you clowns. Now he's coming for 8. The interview afterwards where Nance is interviewing him and he's like trying to get dramatic with it. And he's like, Tom, are you feeling like you're going to come? And he just cuts him off. He's like, we're coming back. Like,
yeah, of course. Like, what are you talking about?
Like, I'm holding the Super Bowl trophy. I was barely touched. I threw 3 touchdowns. Like, I'm going for 8. What the fuck do you think, Jim? Yes, like, I'm coming back. That was so annoying. But I also showed so the other one, the thing, to speak to your Twitter beef thing, when I tweet out a video of Patrick Mahomes with his super cool sunglasses and I say Chiefs by 37, and I get people after the game like sending it to me with clown emojis and telling me like, great prediction. I'm like, okay. Twitter needs to chill a little bit. Like, we're trying a little too hard with some of this. I would be careful with that, Bruce on the Loose.
Well, I can't see
Mahomes can never catch Brady. Let's be honest here. He's been to 3. This is his 4th year. He's been to 3 AFC Championship games already and 2 Super Bowls. He's won 1. I mean, look, there's guys who have gotten there very early and never gone back. I would say that it's a very, very interesting thing to say when we've seen the pace at which he has started his career. Just put it that way.
You want to guess how many of Brady's throws were to tight windows yesterday? 29 pass attempts.
That's a good one, CJ. Brady, you coming back? What the fuck do you think, Jim? Tight windows.
29 pass attempts. How many were in the tight windows?
1.
2.
There you go.
But again, like,
but he
made the player. Yeah, exactly. And they were both incomplete, by the way.
Get out of here. Seriously?
Yeah.
But I just,
and again, that's part of the media does.
The media that's there.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, which is crazy. Like, because I've been to the Super Bowl and I've been part of the voting pool. Like, they open it up so early. Like, they open up the voting. It was I'll tell you exactly what it was yesterday. It was during the drive, because I get the email even though I couldn't vote because I wasn't at the game. They get the drive that the Chiefs had actually right before that, the drive that ended in that one that you showed where he's falling down. Because if they score there, it's 31, either 16 or 17, right, with 11 minutes left. Actually, more than that. I think it was 12 minutes left. All of a sudden, it's a 2-score game with 12 minutes with the Chiefs. Like, they could have come back. I thought that play was really the end of the game.
Yes.
But like in the middle of that drive, when the game is still somewhat in doubt, they sent out the thing you could start voting, and people are voting right away.
Yeah, that's on the media. Like look, there are media members who are very good at what they do when it comes to their respective sports. There's other media members that are just flat out lazy. That's ridiculous. If you were voting at that time, and again, I don't know the window at which it is open, you wait until the last second. And again, to watch that game and to vote Tom Brady, it's ridiculous.
Jesus. Looking at some of these other numbers. By the way, Mahomes was awful in tight windows yesterday too. 1 of 10 for 5 yards. Like it was not good for him. But again, all of those were also being on the run, which is insane. 497 yards before throwing the ball or being sacked. Most in a game of any quarterback since they started tracking in 2016.
Yeah.
So here was the chart. I gotta send you this. This was one of my favorite charts I've ever seen.
Bruce, do you realize? So Bruce is also saying that Mahomes won't be in the league at 43. Bruce, you know that technology is only getting better. Like when it comes to athletes and their bodies and being able to take care of them. Like I wouldn't. Obviously, I won't take this bet because who knows where society's at by the time that happens. But I would say, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Mahomes plays until he's like 45. Like the way the technology is going.
Yes and no though, because on the other side, like, and it's not always money, but the way the money's going, like there won't be incentive necessarily to play that long.
Well, unless he's ripping off championship runs.
Yeah, that's true. If he wants to like do it that way or whatever.
I'm just saying, like, if all things are like perfect, and if he wants to play at 43, 44, 45,
yeah,
like
absolutely.
The way that science is going, he can play until he's 43, 44, 45. He's not a mobile quarterback who gets lit up like a Lamar Jackson or anything like that. And he's a pocket passer with a brilliant arm who can evolve into, if his mobility leaves him, like we had to see it, yesterday, he can still be a brilliant quarterback.
Oh, insane. Now, I would invest, and again, they're going to get some of those guys back. I would invest in an offensive line.
Right.
I'd definitely invest offensive line instead of defensive line where they have all their money right now, for sure. But yeah, it's going to be something that's important for them for sure.
All right, here we go. See what Adam sent me. I'm going in fresh. Going in fresh. Okay, there's a lot of squiggly lines. See what Adam's got here. And welcome them back.
All right, so do you see what this chart is?
Yeah, so here are the paths that Patrick Mahomes top and Tom Brady bottom took before pass attempts in the shotgun during tonight's Super Bowl.
Look at that Brady path.
That's fucking ridiculous.
This is the most insane chart I've ever seen.
See, I don't know why people don't like science and analytics. Like, this is cool. This is a really cool chart. Like, that's ridiculous.
That is an insane visual representation of what we watched yesterday. And like watching the game, that this is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But like sometimes you need something like this to be like, holy fuck. Like look at this. This is what's happening in this game.
So for those, crazy. Do you see my mouse when I'm on the screen, by the way? My mouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what we're talking about. That's for those who might not understand. This is Tom Brady's dropbacks in the shotgun.
Yeah.
These are the routes that he traveled. White is incomplete, red is complete. And then these are the routes that Mahomes had to take when he would drop back in shotgun.
Right.
White being complete or incomplete, red being completed passes. That's
nuts.
Ridiculous.
Nuts.
I would assume this has to be the one that he got flipped up and he was up in the air. This one has to be the one we were watching where he threw it into the end zone. That's ridiculous.
It's preposterous.
Oh, I get it. Okay, I see. This is like as if we're dropping back this way. Okay, so he's rolling up right here. I got it. Okay. I thought they were facing one another. All right.
No.
That's ridiculous.
That's an awesome chart, though.
That really is.
Yeah.
That's
very
brilliant.
much enjoyed that one. But they got to play the same game, though, yesterday.
Right. MVP.
Yeah. Also, and this is, listen, Brady's really good at it. This is not a knock on Brady because he's one of the best I've ever seen at it. But all of their success was from the play action. All of it.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Brady is really really good at disguising it and tucking the ball and putting it in the right spot. Really good at it. But I mean, that's also a scheme of getting them to that level. And it's
also Leonard Fournette beating the shit out of the Kansas City Chiefs to the point where if you're going to fake the run, they're probably going to bite a little bit more.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
And
Like,
well, it's also all season. That's another part of this. And George Ferrari actually from Pro Football Focus is on with us today, and he actually made a good
boy,
point that usually,
see if you can get George on here one of these times.
as you mentioned, you usually run to set up play action, right? Like you have success in the run to set up the play action. He said
That
they
is the
went,
whole tired thought. Yeah.
but he said they went reverse, where they used play action to set up their run. They were successful in the play action early in the game, set up the run later in the game, which was to go that's really next level thinking, really smart. But my argument would be, and we didn't talk about, I didn't want to get too deep into the weeds on the show today, but my argument would be they set it up all year. Like they were among, especially the last like 8 weeks, among the top, run on early downs teams in the entire league, which is absolutely not a Bruce Arians thing. Like Bruce Arians like to just like air it out, but he was running on early downs all season, and then he changed that yesterday. So, I think that part of that was just, hey, when we need to do this, we're going to be scouted to the point where teams know we're going to be running on early downs, and we'll go play action. And they did that yesterday, which was really, really smart.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought was a big key to their success in the game.
Yeah, I like conversations like that because there's also a conversation I've actually had it with George when I was hosting on VSiN that you don't have to do anything to establish play action. That the action of play action itself is the deception, and that it doesn't matter if you've run for 100 yards on the previous 6 carries or 2 on the previous 20. It's the thought of making the linebackers think that you're handing it off. Like that's all that matters.
Well, no, we see times when they run play action they don't even have a running back there.
In years past, you guys would be the same ones to say Brady's success was as a system quarterback under Belichick. Well, no, that's not true. And I think, Mark, you should be able to have nuance when you look at some of these performances. Like I talked about, Brady was really good yesterday. He played his role very well. But to say he was either A, the most valuable player, or B, completely outplayed Mahomes, I think is a very unfair assessment if you watch that game. I don't think you, for lack of a better term, I don't think you watched that game properly. No. If that would take away from that game.
But there's also, I saw another narrative today of people, and I'm sure, like, again, I'm not seeing our comments here, but I'm sure people in the comments have said it. Like, everybody said he was washed up last year. Everybody said he sucked last year. What happened to that? Where are those people? Guess what? He did fucking suck last year. Go back and watch the tape. Go back and look at it. And if you look at, and listen, I know I quote Pro Football Focus all the time. I think you do a lot too because we trust them. Guess what? They're putting in the fucking work every goddamn day. That's why they're smarter than so many people on this stuff because they're watching every single play. They're grading every play, and they're not judging is it complete or incomplete. It's did the guy make the right play or not. They played the same game, Bruce. They were the same player yesterday. There was no difference. And so when you go look at Pro Football Focus, they were really kind to him over the years because he was really good. And last year, he had a trash grade. Guess why? Because he was fucking trash. So, like, the people that are like, you said he was washed up last year. He sucked last year. Yeah. And you don't really think he's going to bounce back, because if a 42-year-old has, like, the worst year of their career, you kind of start thinking that's probably what they are now. Now, he proved this year that wasn't the case. He had a really, really, really good season. But it doesn't change the fact that he was trash last year.
This is one of my favorite conversations that was around Tom Brady. Truth from the Loop, TB12 has been surrounded by excellent teams his entire career. The narrative of he makes no-name players really good. Yeah. He made that Randy Moss guy really shine that one year, He had those no-name defenses that he had to drag with him to the Super Bowl the first 3 years. One of my favorite stats, Eric Mangini had it. He was on like a media outlet like one time, and they were talking about like Tom Brady again. It was during a playoff run of Brady's, and he's like, "Yeah, Brady's come a long way. Our first Super Bowl run, we had 5 offensive touchdowns throughout the entire postseason."
Right.
But let's just drag him by the bootstraps. Good old Brady. Oh boy.
He yes, and I know they made a big deal of on the broadcast, but I saw this a lot going into the game, and we actually, I think, mentioned it on the pregame show yesterday to bet the under in the first quarter because Tom Brady had never thrown a touchdown pass in the first quarter of a Super Bowl ever.
Mm-hmm.
But he's solely responsible for all those titles, and that's the case.
First field goal score, baby. Oh, plus money. Let's go.
Oh,
I took plus money, honey. Oh.
I had a brutal day yesterday.
Did you really?
And it was crazy, as I told Steve on the show on the air. In years past, I've had like the ones I've given out in the air have been bad, and I've done really, really well. Like last year, I think I gave out like 3 losers on the show, and I had such a good season in props. Like it was unbelievable. Yesterday, like a lot of the stuff I said on the show, like was right. It was like right on. A couple of them even underdogs, and I bet those, but then everything else I bet were losers, including I'm still pissed at Tyreek Hill for dancing out of bounds on that, on that run. But I had like last score of the first half as a field goal, and that should have won. I mean, obviously it should have won.
Mhm.
Like the Chiefs kicked the field goal, and then the Bucks come down. They're going to kick a field goal until we get the 40-yard pass interference penalty, and then we score with 1 second left.
How about
So
that
like
whole-
all those ones, and yeah, oh god. And how about like I could not in my mind have handicapped that third quarter bet any more perfectly.
Mhm.
Like what do we said on the show? The Chiefs are almost certain to get the kickoff at halftime. There's a good chance they're going to be behind, that they're going to come out and really have to go and get aggressive and try to score. They'll have an extra possession there, obviously, because they get the ball first. Like the third quarter bet on the Chiefs is great. And then they come out, everything that we said would happen happened, come right down the field, and then they kick a field goal. The Bucks go score a touchdown. And
Dude,
then
that
actually
was-
scored another touchdown.
There was I think maybe it was that third quarter field goal. There was like a 4th and 4 they kicked the field goal. I was amazed watching that team. Like that was not the same Chiefs team.
Well,
Even
and
little
that-
decisions like that. And I get it, the offensive line wasn't good, but it was nuts. Like little decisions like that. I was like, really? Like this is the same team. Like that's
well, and here's the thing, John. This is one of the things I had written down. I thought we were going to skip it, but I'll bring it up. Like we talked extensively Friday night on this show
Mhm.
about how much of a distraction that accident was for the Chiefs, and how it's possible they could go in there and just get crushed because of all those things. I was having a discussion with somebody, and here, what I feel like going into this is people are scared to talk about something like that from a football perspective.
Mhm.
You have to qualify everything with, real life is so much more important, and it fucking is. Like, of course it is, but like you're scared to point out the fact that hey, this is a football angle too. Like this is something that could affect the game, and everybody's scared to talk because you're like, oh, you're diminishing the life by talking. Like, no, it's understood that the accident and the life of a child is far more important. But if we're going to analyze a football game, we have to be honest about what is going on in the football game and all the factors. And I had an argument. I was telling Steve about it this morning. I had an argument with somebody. I'll just say one of my bosses. I was actually having an argument with, and I was pointing out. I was like, I actually thought, the car accident was a, not quite as big of a factor as the offensive line, but it was definitely the number 2 factor in the game to me. And he was like, I don't like excuses. I just like to go out and, do it on the field, whatever. And I said, all right, it's not an excuse. We have this argument all the time too with me and Steve. It's not an excuse. It's reasons and excuses are kind of the same, but they're also different. Like if there's a reason for something, it can be explained. And so this guy said, I don't like excuses. He's like, I just don't understand why they weren't making better adjustments. And I was like, I don't know. If you're distracted, it probably affects your adjustments.
Well, I mean, I would say I don't know about the impact on the game. I would just say that we know what the impact was. That offensive line sucked ass. What adjustments are you going to make? You know what I mean? When you can't even get rid of it after 3 steps because those guys are down, like breathing down your throat, rushing for.
Well, I think you probably should have run more because the run actually was working, and we saw that that when they came out of the third quarter, they did that a little bit and then got away from it again. I mean, that could have worked the way that the Bucks were playing with everybody dropping and then just 4 guys getting pressure. You could beat them with draws, things like that. I think there's things you could do. You could also every once in a while, because I know you can't keep guys in to help every play, but every once in a while they did it on 2 snaps. They kept an extra guy in the block.
Mm.
Like every once in a while, maybe you keep a guy in, not every play, but every once in a while. Like there's certain things you can do. I know George Giroux is talking about maybe getting the screen game going a little bit more. My argument to him was a screen works when you can beat a blitz. Like,
right.
If you've got 7 guys in coverage and getting pressure with 4 guys,
they tried to set up screens multiple times. Like there was like 3 or 4 that he would just end up throwing in the dirt because it wasn't getting set up properly and he had nothing. Like it was better just throw it incomplete as opposed to just get a catch for -3 yards. But regardless, I'm sure there was a small factor, I'm sure, but I couldn't get over how bad that offensive line was.
Disastrous.
All right. You got anything else before we get out of here?
Yes.
Oh boy.
I don't. Oh man, it's a weird one because it struck me as, all right, with COVID, I think we've all been really consistent talking about, following protocols and trying to do all those things and try to do as much right as you can.
Mhm.
But I think sometimes we do get a little bit carried away of like, if somebody's walking on the street by themselves 100 yards away from anybody and they don't have a mask on, like, okay, like I'm not going to freak out about that. Like if you're around people, and especially we know that it's mostly transmitted inside anyway. Um, you know, I think that there's sometimes outside where like, calm down. If you're standing by yourself, whatever, it's fine. But I think there's different circumstances that we look and judge things. The Tampa mayor was a really interesting one. I don't know if you saw that. Like she came out today and she's like, we saw a lot of video of maskless people at the game. If that was you, we're going to find you, and you're going
Some
to
of
get
them were
fined.
vaccinated and all of them were tested.
Oh, exactly. And then people came back and like, you didn't have a mask on. Well, like, it looks like she's in a private suite.
That's why that
Like,
disgusting liberal Joe Biden at the Lincoln Memorial indoors without a mask on.
Yeah,
disgusting.
So what I'm getting at, though, what I really want to get to, is I don't know why it really hit me today, but there was I was going to get coffee not far from where we were doing the show today over at the Thomas and Mack, and there's a little spot where there's a homeless guy has his like setup, and he's been there for a while. Every once in a while, throw him some money when I'm there if I have some dollars left over. He's the guy that's been there for a while, but he's so far away from everybody by himself. Like nobody is within like, I would say 200 feet of the guy, like at any point, unless they're like walking toward him or by him or something like that. Security from this complex came over to him and started screaming at him to be wearing a mask.
Oh God.
And I was like, all right, man. Like, I get it. Like, you're trying to enforce the mask policy. Like, nobody's going near this person, and like, he's not around anybody to give anything to them in that way, except for you guys who came running over to him. Like, now he probably has to wear a mask because you guys are near him. But like, can we just let the homeless guy sleep? Yeah, can we just let the homeless guy sleep in his camp, like not near anybody with no mask on? Can we allow that?
100%. Not the lady who walked into TI as I was leaving on Friday after the show from the Silver Sevens with her hand over her mouth like this because she thought that that's what a mask was.
Okay, it's ridiculous. Does that count?
I walked by. I was amazed when I walked by. I'm like, this is actually happening.
I also will point out, and listen, we're as guilty as anyone, but like, I keep seeing people say, we're all wearing masks, it's still spreading. Like, clearly masks don't work, which is so stupid because, first of all, transmission rates are down like lately, and part of it is vaccinations, but part of it is also, mask mandates that are expanding more and more. So masks do work. But here's the other thing. A lot of the people, and God, SNL did this. I don't know if you watched this on SNL the other day, but they were kind of making fun of like how everyone in the world is like, we're doing our part, we're doing everything right. Well, except that one time I did this, and it's some like ridiculously awful, awful thing. Right. And so like everybody's kind of like that. And listen, I got it. Clearly, I slipped up somewhere, and I don't know where. But like the thing is, everybody's saying they're wearing masks, and you go anywhere you go, and this is anywhere. Everybody's wearing their mask, and then if you come up to have a conversation with somebody, you pull the mask down to talk to them.
Yep.
Like I'm seeing it everywhere. So I'm like, you're actually not wearing a mask. That's exactly the time. Like you actually are fine not wearing a mask until you have that interaction. So like that's kind of the problem of like where people are like, oh, we're doing this. You're really not.
Put my mask on real quick.
That's crazy. Did you just send a text?
Yeah.
Okay. I just got a text from you. I was like, did this pop in right now, or did you send it right now?
No, I sent it.
Okay. You're bored by my homeless man story.
Very true. Yes, I did. Well, actually, I just saw it was bugging me because I saw the text messages. I think I have mild OCD, so like when I see things like notifications and everything, I got to get rid of them on my phone.
Yeah.
And I opened it and I was like, oh, let me just respond really quickly. All right. With that, we're all done. Smarter Than You, episode 6. What's it called? You can go to anywhere you find your podcast, you'll find it.
Good one.
Apple Podcasts, all that kind of stuff. Really petering out. All right.